Hi everybody, Richie Faulkner here from Elegant Weapons and Judas Priest, and I'm on Talking About Rock.
All right, today's guest is best known as one of the lead guitarists for Judas Priest since 2011, replacing original member KK Downing. He's also one of the founding members of Elegant Weapons. With Ronnie Romero on vocals, bassist Dave Rimmer, and drummer Christopher Williams. Their latest album, Evolution, is out now. Joining us now, let's welcome Richie Faulkner. Richie, how are you, man?
I'm doing very well, man. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, definitely. So let's go back a little with the band's debut album, Horns for Halos. Produced by Andy Sneap, released in 23. Such a fantastic album, really. Great tracks on there: Blinding, Leading the Blind, Do or Die. Just some great stuff. And now you guys have another great album out, Evolution. Do you feel this is more moving forward from the original debut album? You guys kind of worked out your sound and style a little bit more?
Well, first of all, thank you very much. I'm glad you like the first record. Yeah, we think so. We think, we're a new band. So we feel like we're finding our identity as we move forward, like, all bands do. And we feel like this is an evolution of that, both as members. The first record obviously was Rex Brown on bass, from Pantera, Scott Travis on drums from Priest. Excuse me. When we took the band out on the live stage, obviously Rex carried on with Pantera, and Scott wanted to concentrate on Priest. So I had to get some guys in the band, and obviously Davey and Christopher came on board. So we evolved in that sense, and I think the songs show a different side to the band as well. So we're finding our identity and evolving in that sense as well. So hopefully the listener will agree as well. But we definitely think it's a strong album, and as we find our identity, this is kind of where we're going, and wanted the fans to hear that as well. So hopefully they dig it.
Definitely liking it. Do you feel there's more freedom to kind of express your style with this project, maybe than in the Priest environment?
It's a good question. In one way, I'd say so. I mean, Priest have been making metal for 50 years, and they've definitely got like obviously a character and a sound that they fall into. But on another hand, they were jointly responsible for creating that heavy metal sound. So with Priest, it's not really limited. It's quite free in Priest as well. If it's a good song, if it's a strong song, we go with it, really. So we're not really limited in that sense either. But from another point of view, with Elegant Weapons, we are a new band. So whatever kind of comes from the heart, whatever we kind of write, and put on the table, whatever's strong, we go with. Really, we haven't got a sound that we've locked into yet. There's no limitations in that sense. So yeah, if it's a strong song, and we think it's going well, we'll go with it. So we'll see where that goes. Maybe the third or fourth record, maybe we'll solidify that sound, or maybe we won't. Maybe it'll keep evolving. We don't know yet. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, really digging the vocals with Ronnie Romero on there. Just a great vocalist for sure. So a little bit more of your history I was reading through. When Priest management originally tried to reach out to you, they had your number wrong, and then they emailed you, of course, and you thought it was spam or junk mail, and you were just deleting them.
Yeah, there were two emails. Obviously, I found out about after the fact. They told me they luckily they were persistent. They tracked me down. They got me on the phone in the end, and they told me about the situation, and could I go down and meet the guys and bring my guitar and stuff like that. So after I got off the phone to management, I checked the deleted emails, and they were still there. So I opened up the emails, and sure enough, it was laying out the same situation that the management had relayed to me on the phone. So yeah, I mean, I didn't know the name of the management company at the time. I didn't, and the subject was Judas Priest. So I thought it was just like a mail out from a metal site that I've been visiting or something. And
Right.
I ignored it and just deleted them to clear space in the
Right.
inbox.
Right.
But yeah, luckily they were persistent. Fortunately for me, they were persistent and they tracked me down. And I'm talking to you 15 years later. How crazy is that?
Right. Right. And so, and your first performance with them was on American Idol. That had to be a little bit of a shock coming out of the gate, also, right?
It was, yeah. It was about a month after we announced it. So we went into rehearsals, started rehearsing for the tour, and then I think 3 weeks into the rehearsals, we flew out to Los Angeles and done the TV show, and it was thrown right in at the deep end really. But Priest really have always been about flying the flag for heavy metal and British heavy metal, and we thought it was a great opportunity really to get. I mean, I think it was something like 33 million homes in the US alone. So we thought that was a great opportunity to get into those, fly the flag for heavy metal in 33 million homes, introduced a tour, introduced, obviously the new guitar player. And we did two songs actually with James Durbin. And it was a great thing. Then we went back to England, done another week of rehearsal, and then started tour in Europe. So it was like a whirlwind, So I got the gig, and then we were into the fire, so to speak. So it changed my life completely.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's always good to kind of get the metal back out there, especially in the U.S. market. I think it's a really difficult sell right now with the hard rock and the metal not being as dominant as it used to be in the past. I know other markets in other areas, especially England, UK, things like that. It's always been pretty in the front, pretty dominant still. Not so much on the U.S.
I think was it last year or the year before we got nominated for a Grammy, and we went to the award, and there was stuff like best liner notes on an album, best you name it, best pet of the person that played on the record, and then after that, right at the bottom almost was the best metal performance, and it wasn't even best album or best single, best metal single. It was best metal performance. So even that was quite generalized. You know what I mean? We were nominated for best metal performance. So it could be a live show. It could be it was quite nebulous really.
Right.
But again, we thought it was great to be nominated for a Grammy of a band of 50 years. To be putting out music that was that potent to be nominated for a Grammy. We didn't win, obviously, but it was great to be nominated. So, but yeah, to your point, it wasn't at the forefront. It wasn't one of the main groups, and it was right at the bottom of the group, really, of all the nominees. So not as potent as it used to be, but still up there. After 50 years, Priest still getting nominated for a Grammy. That's a big deal, I thought.
Yeah, definitely one of the integral bands, obviously, in heavy metal, the beginning of that. And so good to see getting some of that recognition now after all that time. And you yourself getting some. So in 2015, you were awarded the Dimebag Darrell Shredder Award by the British magazine Metal Hammer at their annual Metal Hammer Golden Gods Award. That sounds pretty amazing as well.
Yeah, it's the first time I've got anything like that, and I was totally surprised. I had to fly in from, I think I was in Amsterdam, in Europe at the time. I had to fly in. We were touring at the time, so I had to fly in, collect the award, and fly back out and join the tour again. So obviously, any award like that is prestigious when it's by the fans. The fans vote that kind of stuff, so it means quite a lot. So. And obviously the Dimebag Darrell Award is obviously an amazing thing. Haven't got any awards after that, so my playing's obviously gone downhill since then.
I don't think so. Well, you've had some other issues to deal with, some personal issues, some health issues in the past.
I've actually got it's down there. It's right down there. Actually, I don't know if you can see it. it's down there, so I keep it here.
Oh,
You know,
you might need to rise it up a little higher so people see that, maybe, right? Maybe that's
it's a beautiful thing. It's a golden skull with horns. It's cool with a sword through the middle. It's great. So yeah,
very
it's
nice,
always fun
very
to get
nice.
awards like that.
Very nice. I also wanted to check in with you. Obviously, having that big health issue in 2021, emergency heart surgery. Have you changed anything in your lifestyle, in your health? I'm sure you watch that a lot more closely now, as anybody would.
Well, yeah, you have to change some things. I mean, I always consider myself very fortunate, obviously, to still be here, but obviously very fortunate that my regimen isn't really. Some of the hardest things to do is remember to take meds. I've got meds 3 times a day, and I forget. Obviously, I'm getting older. I forget to take my meds after time, so that's quite difficult. As I said, there's people out there dealing with a lot bigger challenges than I do. So I
Right.
consider myself fortunate, really. But yeah, I have to change. I have to work a lot harder. Playing stuff these days, I have to work a lot harder at it. I have to practice a lot now, and just keep things moving, keep things moving as they should, so to speak. But yeah, I'm still able to do what I love to do. Again, maybe that's why I haven't got any more awards. But my reward is being alive, talking to you, doing what I can do. I still play with Priest, obviously, still putting out records with Weapons, and yeah, so I couldn't be more grateful to be able to do that.
Yeah, we're definitely happy you have that. And also wanted to touch on one other personal note here. I was not aware of, your first child was born in 2020. You're in a relationship with Maria Lynch, daughter of George Lynch. That was
That's
amazing.
correct. That's correct. Yes, I was trying to get into George's band. That's why I got together with him. No, no.
He's a great guy. I've had him on the show a couple of times. Just a great guy. Yeah, definitely.
He's a
Dry
great guy.
sense of humor, though. Dry sense of humor. Sometimes you're
Really
not
dry,
sure.
really dry. Sometimes I've been around him where people don't get his sense of humor sometimes, and they think he's like being serious when he's not. He's joking. So that's been interesting to see. But
Right.
he's a
Exactly.
lovely guy, great player. One of the greatest from that era, and still is. Really unorthodox way of playing. And he's still killing it out there. Still, we went to see him a little while ago. He was playing near us. I think he was in Chattanooga. I think he was playing. Still playing great. He looks fantastic. He looks better than I do. Like twice my or 3 times my age, whatever he is. But no, playing great. Sounds great. Looks great, and really happy for him. So whenever we see him, he's always great. We always end up watching, YouTube videos, Schenker videos, Blackmore videos, Hendrix, Eric Johnson.
Yeah.
We always start talking about guitar players. So the wives bugger off into the next room and leave us to it. So we always talk about guitars.
Right. I wanted to ask you about that too, but I just want to put a little buzz in your ear. Maybe some collaboration coming down the line between you two, maybe at some point.
Everyone
Maybe,
asks
right?
about that.
That would be hit it out of the park, I think, right?
Well, I've never. Do you know what? I haven't really thought about it. It might be one of those things that are too close. You don't think about, but yeah, maybe we'll have a go at doing something like that. Maybe in the future. I mean, George is such a great player, though. I always feel like intimidated when he starts playing. He's like an intimidating player. So we'll see. Maybe George can play some solos, and I'll just back him up with some rhythm stuff. I think that's probably the best I could do. But maybe we'll look into that. Everyone asks about it.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting. I know he does. He does a lot of side solo projects and different stuff, so I'm sure he's busy. But yeah, something cool. But you mentioned a little bit about your gear, and we definitely want to talk about that because people are interested. You're using the Gibson Epiphone Flying V model guitars. With the signature EMG pickups. And your first guitar, I think, was a Gibson as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, my first serious guitar was an Epiphone V. Funny enough, when I was growing up, I played whatever we could get our hands on. So when I was around 7 or 8, my father had a friend who played in like a rock punk band around London, and he had it was like a Gibson double cutaway type thing, and it was like a fluorescent orange that he painted. It obviously wasn't a factory custom color. It was like he painted it himself, and it splattered all over like blues and greens and yellows and reds and pinks. It was like a punk rock guitar. So I played that for a while, but I think my first proper guitar that I got was an Epiphone Flying V, and I played that thing religiously after school every day. Learned, Maiden stuff, and I was into Pantera and Metallica at the time. Learned a lot of that stuff on that guitar, and went from there really. So I still play the V's and the Gibsons, and the Les Pauls and Explorers. I've been playing a few years now. And it's mainly obviously Gibsons that I've been playing. And Gibson were when you're young and you're finding out about gear, you play stuff and it's trial and error, and you gravitate towards stuff that works really. It's stuff that feels good, stuff that works, stuff that stands up during those pub gigs. If you're playing in a pub and stuff keeps breaking down, you change it until you find something that doesn't break or does feel right. And then I've kind of stayed with the same stuff throughout, really. So I've still played the same. At the core, it's the same stuff that I play now than I used to play back in the pubs around London, which is, like a Gibson humbucker, either a V or a Les Paul mainly, with like an overdrive, a delay, a chorus, through a 100-watt Marshall type head. And that's it pretty much. Everything else there might be different switching or all technical stuff that goes on, but at the heart of it, that's pretty much what I play with Priest, and have been for the last 15 years.
Yeah, like you said, you stick with what works, definitely. So
That's
know
right.
You're busy when you're not touring, recording, or writing. What do you do to relax? Do you get out and do some other things? What do you like to do?
Well, I like to. I like cars. I got into driving. I've never had a driving license until recently. Never needed a driving license. I lived in London. I lived in the city, and I played guitar, so I could always get on the subway. And so I didn't have a drum kit that I had to travel around with. So it was easy for me to get. You know what I mean? Right. But until recently, so I never needed a driving license. But I finally got a driving license, so I got into driving. And we live kind of out in the country, so I take the 911s out in the country and put them through the gears. I enjoy doing that, so I started a bit of a car collection. I collect amplifiers and collect guitars, and obviously spend time at home with the family and stuff like that, and the dogs. And I like a bit of downtime too. I do a bit of painting, a bit of Warhammer. I don't know if you know, like Warhammer 40,000. But like miniatures, like the Space Marines. I do a bit of painting and stuff.
Right.
But yeah, that's about it, really. As you said, most of the other time goes into recording or writing riffs and stuff. You never know when you're going to need stuff for a next album or a next idea.
Right. Are you one of those guys that have something like next to your bed or a tablet, like right next to you if you get an idea, right?
Absolutely. Luckily, we've got phones these days with, sing or whistle stuff into them. And then when I get home, I translate them over. Luckily I've got the studio at home. I can translate those ideas on a phone into the studios to put them down on the guitar and then put them in a folder. As I said, you never know when you need them. So it's good to have those things around.
Definitely. So plans for shows or a tour coming up with Elegant Weapons? What's in the works? What's next steps? Anything happening with that? Yeah,
we're looking, obviously, as you can imagine, we've all got different bands. So one of the challenges for Elegant Weapons is getting everyone together free on the same schedule. So we've got a Priest tour coming up in July in Europe that we finish out at the end of September. So we're looking at some dates after that where we're hoping to get everyone together to do some dates with Weapons. And maybe that'll be Europe or the States, Japan, maybe South America. We don't know. Anywhere that will have us, we'll go to. So when we get those dates solidified, we'll let everyone know, obviously, on our socials.
Definitely. And you guys I think you're working on finishing up the next Priest album. Something you're working on it currently?
We've started it, yeah. We started it in February. We've done a bit more work on it last month. So we haven't got a release date, and we're not sure when it's going to be finished, but we are working on it. So yeah, hopefully that will be sometime in the future as well.
Yeah, and lastly here, I just wanted to wrap up. If you had any advice you could give any young guitarist, in music today or looking at the music business today, what would you tell them? You've gone through a lot. You've gone all the way up the scale, right? You're in one of the biggest metal bands, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. What would you tell some of these younger guys today?
I would say play what you love, even if it's not what everyone else loves. Play what you love. I would say harness what makes you different. If you're trying to copy someone and it doesn't sound quite right. It doesn't sound like the other player. That's because it sounds like you. So that's what you've got to harness. That's your unique value that nobody else has. So try and harness that and nurture that. That's what Glenn Tipton told me, and that's what I'd pass on to anyone else. And learn to sing. I think if you could learn to sing, if I could sing, it makes demos easier. It makes the whole process easier. You know, just putting down demos, kind of illustrating what you want from the singer to sing, and maybe singing your own stuff as well. Maybe you've got a good voice as well. So I'd definitely say that. Play stuff you love, nurture what makes you unique, and learn to sing.
Definitely, definitely. All right, good advice. Really appreciate it. All right, folks, the new album from Elegant Weapons is out now, Evolution. All right, so check that out and keep an eye on their socials and their website for dates. All right, so that wraps up this episode of Talk About Rock. Thank you to my guest today, Richie Faulkner. And to our audience out there, we hope you're doing your part by keeping the torch alive and supporting live music wherever you are. Richie, again, thank you so much.
Thank you, brother. Take care, man. Thanks for the support.
Thank you.